You know, is it me, folks, or has this past 7 days or so been the week of trailers? You know, last week, last Wednesday, it was the second trailer for Batman vs. Superman, which was mixed, not mixed, but which was met with mixed reactions. Some loved it, some didn't. You know, some fellas gave away too much, some didn't. But then, lo and behold, about a week later, we get a teaser, about a 15-second teaser, or whatever you want to call it, that this past Wednesday, yesterday, we were going to get the trailer, the first official trailer for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. In other words, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Out of the Shadows. And what a difference a week makes. Because here's a sequel to a movie that some people love, that you kind of was mixed, kind of half and half. People liked, some people didn't. Mostly was sour on the designs. You know, didn't like the fact that the first movie at times was very, very Megan Fox centered and very Megan Fox centered and oriented. And yet now, here's a sequel to that movie that was essentially a Megan Fox movie, a Megan, like I said, centric movie with the name Ninja Turtles on it. And again, here's the sequel. And now, what a difference! Almost about 2 years make, because 2-3 years make, because now all of a sudden people are praising this one. They're saying that the designs, they're still not sold on the Ninja Turtle designs, on the looks of the Ninja Turtles, but they say there's an improvement. Some have said that the Ninja Turtles look a little more turtlesque, still good, that they kind of look more turtleish than before, but that there still needs to be work done, that there still has to be work done. And honestly, I don't really blame them for feeling that way. Honestly, I don't. But when one thinks about it, you know, if they're going to do a series of films with the franchise, time is going to help improve the looks of things. Now, people like Andre of Black Nerd Comedy and several other people have said, like I said, that the designs have improved. That they do look a little, that the nose part for the face of the turtles looks a little bit better. It's trying to make them look more turtlesque, if you will. But still, like I said, they're not sold on it. So, you know, that's one probably negative aspect that they look at. It's like, you know, the silver lining of that negative aspect is the look of the design's a little bit more turtleish, but it's still not all there. You know, it's still not all there. But what they did like, what a lot of people actually liked, and I know Andre of Black Nerd Comedy is not the only one, what they did like was the fact that this trailer, even though it's the first one, seems more turtle-centric than the first movie. Like I said, the first movie, in the eyes of a lot of people, was very Megan Fox-centric. Here, we have something that's very turtle-centric. And a lot of people like it. Now, of course, there have been some casting changes, especially with the villains. You know, Shredder is no longer played by the guy he was in the first film. Karai's not played by the same girl she was played like in the first film. So there are some changes. Now, is that good? Well, one negative aspect that Andre mentioned was when we see this version of Shredder, this actor playing Shredder in the movie, we see him with his with one Shredder arm, you know, with one, I think it's his right arm right here, with his Shredder blades popping out like this. When he meets Bebop and Rocksteady. Rocksteady, of course, played by WWE World Heavyweight Champion currently, Sheamus. Well, Bebop, I can't think of his name, is played by a very well-known comedian actor. So, very interesting. Very, very interesting there. But that's when we kind of know who that is right off the bat. And apparently he wants to meet with an Eric something. I don't know if that's Baxter Stockman's name here, if they changed it, now it's Eric, or it's Eric Bowen or something like that. I don't know if it's Eric Sykes they're talking about, because it sounded like a different name, but if it's the same guy from the first film, then he might be in this as well. So we haven't seen him yet, but I think his name being mentioned in some way kind of tells you he's going to be in it. Now, like I said, the one negative aspect that Andre is worried about is this version of Shredder just going to be a one-armed shred guy and we don't see no armor, or is he going to put the armor on? We don't know yet. And that could be one thing that comes back to bite Paramount, Nickelodeon, the director David Green, or whatever his name is, and Michael Bay in the butt, is if Shredder's not fully Shredder in this film. One good thing, though, that a lot of people were happy about, I spoke about Bebop and Rocksteady now being in the movie, especially being played by Seamus and that other guy, I can't think of his name, and I apologize for that. You could tell that they did motion capture with them as well. Basically, they did the same thing they had done with the Turtles in the first film, and in this film, they basically motion captured the actors. And the reason I say that is somebody put a screen grab for the trailer on Facebook, and when you look at Rocksteady's eyes, those are Seamus's eyes. So they basically they did exactly what they had done with the actors playing portraying the Turtles in the first film, and in this film, they basically motion captured Seamus and again, I can't think of his name, the other guy that plays Bebop. And what's great about this is when you see the mutant designs of Bebop and Rocksteady, they are the Bebop and Rocksteady of the classic 80s cartoon. It's not the Rocksteady of the current one. Now, I don't know if he has the hat or something like that, but basically you could tell that the Bebop and Rocksteady designs here are based off the 80s cartoon, the 80s, 90s cartoon, and that's great. Because basically what you're doing is you're saying that this, right off the bat, that this movie and the first movie are retakes or retellings of the original, or basically mostly a retelling, a retake of the original 80s cartoons, that you can tell that this is more 80s, 90s, original TMNT influenced, along with a mixture of what you see from, from the original Mirage Studios version, from when they first started and stuff. But you can tell that this is sort of a mixture that's heavily influenced by the 80s, 90s cartoon. You could see that. Another way you could see that is the Turtle Van. The Turtle Van, to me, is heavily influenced by the Turtle Van out of the cartoon that was one of the biggest sellers of the Ninja Turtles toys by Playmates. The Party Van, the Turtle Van, whatever you call it, you could tell is heavily influenced. So, like I said, you could kind of see that perhaps what they're doing with this trailer is not just showing that, hey, we're listening to you, we're going to give you what you want, but in a sense, they're also letting you know that, oh, by the way, the first film and this film, they're mostly loosely adapted and based off of the 80s, 90s Ninja Turtles. Basically the original cartoon. Loosely, I should say. Because, like I said, there are some elements in there that, there are some elements in there that are a mixture, a blending and a mixture of the original Mirage comics and what you see with the current Nickelodeon series, as well as maybe the 2003 series. So you kind of get that mixture there, but you can tell that certain character designs, vehicles and stuff are mostly based out of the 80s, 90s cartoons. But again, and to me, but again, that is just a great mixture, because yes, you have these little bits here and there from the current cartoon series on Nickelodeon, the original Mirage concept, the 2003 series. You have all those thrown in, but you can tell that this movie series, mostly the second one, is highly influenced by the 80s, 90s cartoon. You could see that. You could see that. Now, I don't know if they're going to mutate Baxter Stockman in this movie and you're going to see the fly Baxter Stockman, or they're going to wait for the third movie to do that. I don't know. All I know is that when I saw this, I liked it. I haven't really seen much of the first one yet. I watched a few glimpses here and there, but I haven't seen it, so I got to sit down and see it. But to me, this is actually pretty good. This is really decent. I like it. Again, to me, it's a mixture of all past and present Ninja Turtle incarnations, from the Mirage Studio, the 80s, 90s cartoon, the 2003 series, and even the current Nickelodeon series. But you can tell that this version is more heavily influenced, in a sense, especially with the Bebop, Rocksteady, Mutant designs, and the Turtle Van design, more heavily influenced by the 80s, 90s cartoon. You could see that. Baxter Stockman in here, yeah, he's played by Tyler Perry, which is a callback to the original Mirage Studios original Mirage comics, I should say, version, as well as a callback to the 2003 series and even the Nickelodeon series. But you can kind of tell that it's his personality. They didn't show much of the personality, but you can kind of tell it's a blending of the Nickelodeon personality, the 2003 personality, and the 80s, 90s personality. Basically, the original cartoon, the 2003 cartoon, and the 2012 to present Ninja Turtle cartoon, you can tell that the personality of those Baxter Stockmans have all been blended in to this Baxter Stockman. You can kind of see that. So overall, it looks like this one, and a lot of people are in agreement with this, is a vast improvement over the last one. The only thing I think a lot of people will be worried about is this is just going to be a teaser that, and even Andre kind of alluded to this, like this is just a teaser, and that maybe the second trailer that comes out, or even the movie that comes out, if there is no trailer, is not that turtle-centric, and it's back to being just about Megan Fox. But we'll have to wait and see. One other criticism I know people might have is, what about Casey Jones? Why is he not long-haired? What's going on? And again, remember, I said this has bits and elements of all the incarnations of the Turtles. This one obviously follows a little bit of the Casey Jones that's in the current series. Yeah, that Casey Jones a kid, but he has short hair. His hair's long, but it's not too long, so it's more shorter. And quite honestly, they got Stephen Amell, who was working on Arrow, so you can't, really, well, you could put a wig on him and everything, and that might work. But again, this is like another take. Like maybe there's a Casey Jones out there in the Mirage version that had no hair. I don't know. But I can tell in a sense that the short hair or something like that is based a little bit on the current version of Casey Jones, which is the teenager in the Nickelodeon series. Kind of. Because his hair is not all the way down. Like let's say, Casey of 2003, Casey in the 80s, 90s series. It's more like, it's short. Okay, it's basically buzzed. But it's kind of like, in a sense, a little bit of a take, a loose adaptation of the teenage kid, the teenage Casey, because he has shorter hair. So I'm thinking that's what it is. And maybe it's just another way of showing Casey Jones. Like maybe David Green and the people that wrote it and casted Stephen Amell said, you know what? We've never had a short-haired Casey Jones. Let's have a short-haired Casey Jones. There you go. So maybe that's why they wanted to do it. I don't really know. But I think that would be the only criticism they have. Overall, though, it looks good. There is definitely another trailer or two coming before the movie because the movie's coming out in June. So there's definitely another trailer coming. You can sense that already. I can almost guarantee that that trailer is going to be seen, I would suspect, around March or April, maybe late February at the most. I would say that come Super Bowl 50 is when you'll probably see another trailer. And that same trailer is going to be tied into or be shown before Captain America Civil War. I almost can guarantee that. Well, not Captain America Civil War, but I would say Batman vs. Superman, you'll probably see this trailer come on before it. Not this one that they showed yesterday, but of Wednesday. Oh yeah, Wednesday is yesterday. What am I talking about? They showed yesterday, but it's going to be more. But it's going to be a different trailer. It's going to be the second trailer that, like I said, might get shown around the Super Bowl, but mostly will probably be shown around before, I should say, before people see Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. That's when I predict that second trailer will arrive. Now, again, this has sold a lot of people now on giving it a chance. But that second trailer is going to be the real selling point, in my opinion. Because if that second trailer is like this in some sense, and it kind of says, hey, this is going to be total-centric, not Megan Fox-centric, then we're fine. But if the second trailer, like I said, I'm predicting will be released around either the Super Bowl or shown before the Batman vs. Superman movie, if that trailer is an opposite of this and it shows more Megan Fox and Stephen Amell and kind of counteracts this first one and says, oh yeah, by the way, this is, the first one said it was total-centric, but it's also Megan Fox, Stephen Amell, April O'Neil, Casey Jones-centric. We'll have to wait and see. But again, we know a second trailer is coming. And like I said, I predict it's going to be seen before around Super Bowl 50, or during Super Bowl 50, or before the Batman vs. Superman trailer. That's what I'm predicting for the second trailer, and that one will be that to me will be the real selling point of whether or not this is going to be more total-centric than the first one, or is it going to be just like the first one and kind of be 50-50, but this time be more so 50-50, like half total-centric, half Megan Fox-centric. We'll have to wait and see. But this one right now has sold people on this being more total-centric, more cartoonish in a sense, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens when the second trailer comes out. Will it continue this trend, or will it show that this movie is going to be more 50-50 down the middle? We'll have to wait and see. But so far, my reaction is, I like it. It's cool. I like it. It's good. It's cool. I like that Bebop and Rocksteady's designs are callbacks to the cartoon, the 80s, 90s cartoon. And it looks like the Krang are going to arrive. It looks like the Krang are going to be arriving because apparently at the beginning of the trailer, a big old hole opens up in the sky and you have all these ships coming down. So it looks like the Krang are coming on to the scene, and we'll just have to see what they do with them. I mean, it is a different take on how Dimension X comes, of how the Krang come from Dimension X to Earth. So it's a different take. But we'll just have to see what they do. And yeah, a huge improvement in the eyes of some, and I agree with that. The foot soldiers this time are indeed more foot soldier-like. So we'll just have to see what they do. And again, it looks like the Krang are going to be showing up in this movie because of that opening in the sky and the ships coming down. I know a lot of people, even Andre did a comparison of Avengers, so we'll have to see what they do from here. And again, the second trailer to me is going to be a real selling point as to if it's half and half or if it's going to follow